went to the, where was I?
Gettysburg, the Gettysburg Address.
Oh, the
You
Gettysburg
were
Address,
correcting
yeah.
the teacher with respect.
She said something that, well, I said, that's not the way he said it or what he said exactly. She said, oh, you know what he said? I said, yes, I do. She said, well, let me hear what it was. So I stood up and recited the entire Gettysburg Address. Every now and then I do it just to see if I can. The people were so stunned, truly, this is a fact, they were so stunned that the teacher even applauded, and everybody applauded because I said it went through the whole darn thing.
Whoa.
But anyway, it's just an example of my buckling down. I knew we were studying about the Civil War and the Gettysburg Address, so I just memorized it, and it paid off. But anyway, here I was in a situation where I was wanting to be a good student, and I was kicked out of school. Couldn't go to school. Couldn't go to any school in the state of Florida. I was told what to do. Well, there isn't anything a 14-year-old boy can do. I started running around with some boys. I started getting into trouble. And I was hauled before a judge, and he told me once, he said, you're either going to have to go to work, go in the Army, the Navy, or go to jail. So I joined the Army. They would find more fault with me than they would with other people, and it was not because I was not a good soldier, because I was a damn good soldier. I wanted to be a good soldier because this was what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a soldier. I wanted to be an officer. So I did the best that I could. I was only 15 years old anyway, you see. Less problems existed if I did the best that I possibly could. But I was always having little problems. People always talking about that Jew, and I was usually the only Jewish person in every unit I was ever in until after the war. I was in the paratroopers, and I was told, when somebody said, what kind of a name is Aronowitz? I said, it's a Jewish name. What the hell are you doing in the paratroopers? You know, why aren't you a supply? This was a prevalent feeling. I don't know if you experienced this or not. But see, we don't find Jewish boys in combat units. That's what I was told. But I was in the infantry. I was in the parachute infantry. And I was always being singled out as the Jew, because I usually was the Jew, the only one in the unit. Now, when you consider the feeling that people in the South had toward Jews in those days, it wasn't an easy life, you see. It wasn't an easy life at all. But I wanted to be a soldier, I wanted to be an officer, so I did the best that I could. And it usually paid off. Anyway, I finally got the opportunity to go to go to OCS, to become an officer. I had to lie. I told the people I wanted to go to I didn't have a high school education because I was Jewish. I was kicked out of school because I was Jewish. Kicked out of school, didn't finish school, didn't have a high school education. Couldn't do things because you didn't have a high school education. I wanted to be an officer. You had to have at least a high school education to be an officer. You have to overcome whatever obstacle is in front of you if you want to succeed in what you want to do.
Right.
Now you can go through life and not worry about it, don't care, and you just be whatever you are. But if you want to be something, regardless of what it is, you have to overcome certain things or certain problems, certain hurdles. The hurdle I had to overcome was the fact that I was Jewish. Headquarters. And I was called into the general's office, mind you. I'm a corporal, this is a general. So his name was Longino, Sam Longino, L-O-N-I-G-O-N-O, something like that. I reported to him. He said, Andrew, he said, Ronowitz, yeah, how much education have you had? And I said, just the 8th grade. This is before, you know. And he said, and you're a goddamn cheat, aren't you? I said, I beg your pardon, I don't understand. He said, this score you made on your IQ test is very high. He said, in fact, it's higher than mine. He said, you cheated, didn't you? I said, no, sir, I didn't cheat. I couldn't cheat. I was in a room all by myself. I mean, you know, we were in little cubicles all by ourselves. He said, somehow you cheat. You're Jewish, aren't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, you cheated, didn't you? I said, no, sir. He said, well, I'll tell you what you're going to do. He said, you're going to sit right here. You're going to take that test again. He said, I'm gonna watch you every damn minute. So I sat there and took the test. And he excused me. I left. And 2 days later, a boy I knew from personnel, Pete Palmer, I'll never forget him. He was gay, but I didn't know it at the time, didn't know what gay people were. He came over to see me. He said, I thought you'd like to know about the test you took in the general's office. I said, yeah, what happened? He said, you came out about 2 points better than you did. Well, I had to maintain a B average, and I wasn't maintaining a B average. And I couldn't understand why, because I was studying, even though I was working at a couple of jobs at the same time. I knew I was studying, and I knew the subject matter, but I wasn't doing well. And I realized, while I was taking a midterm exam, what was going on. You see, people all around me were cheating. And the professor would grade on a curve. Now, when a professor grades on a curve, that means you're competing with everybody in the classroom for a grade. It's not as if we could all make an A or all make a B. That's not the way it works on the curve. On the curve, you're competing with that person for a grade, and you're competing with that person for a grade. And I could compete one-on-one, but when you start competing 1 against 10, or 1 against 4, or 1 against 3, you can't get a good grade. They have the grades sewed up among themselves. What I would do, the first thing I did was I saw papers being passed. So I stood up real loud, said to the professor, would you tell so-and-so to pass that paper to me when they finish passing it to so-and-so? I need to look at that thing too. Anyway, and that stopped those people from cheating because the professor knew that they were cheating anyway, whatever. He kicked the boy out, by the way. From then on, anytime I saw somebody cheating, I would stop them. I would say something to them loud and clear. Or I would walk up to them and slap them aside to get their attention and say in a loud voice, look at your own damn paper for a while. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes they'd have things written on their hand or on their, you know, I'd stop them. Mm-hmm. One time I even reached in the guy's pocket and pulled out the cheat sheets, threw them at the professor. I said, talk about this. But we were just going to change the name to avoid the possibility of people having a problem because it was hurting Sharon particularly. He would cry because of what people would say. You know. I did it to protect the children. Now, it was a conscious decision. And I remember so well, Mom and I talking about it, and saying that we're not denying anything because if anybody ever asked me, was I Jewish, I would never deny it, never have. It just so happened that from the time the name was changed until this very minute, it's never come up. No one has seen, no one said Andrew is Jewish. And that's the reason.
Yeah,
and it didn't matter. See, I'll tell you why it didn't matter. It wasn't my name anyway. It wasn't my father's name. I mean, his name was entirely different. It just sounded like a Aronowitz. And he came over from Romania, and he spelled his name Aronovici. That's what his name was spelled. And but it's pronounced Aronowitz, and it was written Aronovici. And that's my father just assumed, well, that's what they wanted me to have. Really, a name is a name is a name. You know, all I was going to say was, adversity is something I've dealt with all of my life, and because of the fact that I was Jewish, in an adverse situation, I had to overcome these things. And over the years, every time you overcome something, it makes a better person out of you. Adversity is a good thing if you don't let it get you down. If you fight it, you come out a better person because you have overcome a problem. If you don't overcome a problem or an adverse situation, you just lay back and take whatever comes. And if you don't like it and don't do anything about it, you deserve what you get.